Created live on Fireside.
Welcome to Your Next Stop. This is Juliette Hahn. I am a wife, mom, virtual coach, public speaker, and crazy obsessed dog lover. I am so honored to be able to take you into the life of someone that has followed a passion. Every week, I hope you are as inspired as I am. Welcome to Your Next Stop. All right, guys, welcome to YNSLive with my special guest, Colette Lettieri. Hey, Colette, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Good morning. Sorry, I have a little technical difficulties, but I think I'm good. I think I'm here.
I was just gonna say, okay, I was gonna teach you how to do that little part of the video, but you totally have it.
I'm a fast learn.
I know you are. So welcome to Fireside. I'm so
Thank
excited
you.
to have you here, and it's so nice to see you like next to me as we chat.
Thank you so much. What a crazy morning, but I feel like, okay, we're going to take a few minutes, calm it down and get a job done and then go back to cleanup.
Right. I know. Totally. Right. I mean, it is for anyone that is listening, it is the first day of school in our area. So that's, we had to kind of send kids off, which always is interesting. I feel like the first day usually goes smoothly and sometimes you hit little bumps. But Colette, I just want to just say thank you again for joining us. And I'm really excited because I know you just had a workshop that you just did, but I want you to start by sharing with my guest and the people that are listening, people that are, listening on different, if you guys are, joining us with Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, welcome. And just tell us kind of a little bit of your backstory, like where, how you started. I know you were a social worker. I know you were a teacher. Just give us a little bit about that. And then I want you to dive into how you became this amazing empowerment coach.
Yeah, thank you. My story, it basically started in special education, and I was a special ed teacher for about 10 years. And then that organically parlayed into going for a master's in social work. So I now am a licensed social worker. And then sadly for me, and for many reasons, I was put on bed rest with our second daughter, and I don't really have the ability to stay still. So I had to figure out a way to stay still, but not stay still. So I decided that my mind didn't need to stay still. So I went back again and I became a certified health coach. And then really it was a matter of how do I bring all three of my backgrounds and degrees into, or rather in this case, like onto the stage and make it work. And I just over time, went back into private practice and it wasn't fulfilling a certain need. But sadly, over COVID, with ample time, at night after homeschooling all day, I sat and wrote, and I ended up writing an entire workshop for emerging female adults and females called This Is Me. And it's an empowerment coaching tool that would really jumpstart people to maybe doing some work with me one-on-one or continuing working with other women in groups, and which is what we're doing now. So Monday we had an in-person, which was so wildly fabulous, just to be in the room with like-minded women who, are just looking to do something to sort of jumpstart whether their career or jumpstart going for a promotion or taking a total leap of faith and maybe taking a total career change. And what, was a 1-hour workshop led to a huge, great shift for many of these women. And we're actually going to be running a monthly workshop now that they want to maintain. And then a number of women signed up to do the 3-month program, which I'm super, excited for.
I love, when you were saying you had to be on bed rest, I laugh because I do know you fairly well now over the years, and just can't even imagine.
I actually army crawled. I thought that didn't really count as walking or anything, so I did a lot of army crawling until the belly became too big. Then I shimmied on my back a little bit. I mean, when I say bed rest, I did it my way, and then I just sat on the computer with my 2-year-old jumping over me. So it was definitely a YouTube moment. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I was going to say, and definitely challenging, but I'm sure you, again, made it as fun as you possibly could, because there's no way that didn't happen. So can you dive into a little bit about how the workshop went and what you focused on? Just take us through a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think the sense I started to get is I kind of put it out there via social media as what do people need? What are people looking for? And for many people, and again, I'm focused on females, but for many women in particular, it was just the ability to get back into a room and connect and to network. And what we found within the first 5 minutes is I sort of did my quick bio introduction, and then I did what I do best, which is I always loved group practice as a social worker. I loved running a room of people. Is we did a brain teaser, and within the 5 minutes of the brain teaser, fingers were pointing like, oh my God, that's so not what I would have said, or that's exactly what I was thinking, or wait, you and I need to talk after, I just wrote a book and you're an agent. And it was just this infectious energy that I think for over 18 months, we haven't had with strangers. For many people, you're just walking by with a mask and staying hidden. And I respect and get all of the angles people are taking. But for a good hour and a half, like all puns intended, the masks were off and people just wanted to communicate. People wanted to share. People were taking notes and generating ideas. And the emails that followed were, you hit a nerve, or you brought me onto stage and I needed to be called out because I was being complacent the last 18 months, whether it was with their mind or their body. And suddenly now, I have 15 women who have now brought in 5 other women, and it's, can we get a group going? And can my sister FaceTime in, or can it be a virtual session? And I love doing virtual, and I will continue doing most of my office work virtually. But for a couple of these women, they want to be outside. So, we're taking folding chairs outside tomorrow, and we're just going to sit and run the second part of our group, which I'm psyched about.
That's awesome. I love that. Because I know during COVID, we were in conversations, and I know, we all have our ups and downs, right? But, the thing that was funny is we would laugh about is that I would walk my dogs and I would like call you and be like, oh my God, I have this idea. And a lot of my podcast, a lot of these connections that I made, Fireside came about literally at the time where I was making these partnerships with the NFL and doing all these things. And I love that you were also kind of diving into your own, being like, you know what, you had a group of people. Can you tell us a little bit about the college students that you were originally helping, and then how that kind of it even grew bigger? Because you were like, This is what's happening because of COVID.
For me, the emerging adults, and that's what I'm calling them, and it's primarily college females and up, they were uniquely hit because here they are, fighting for internships, trying to do online. So much of it was just disastrous, and many of them persevered, but a number of them lost that gusto. And it was, well, what am I fighting for? The internships are not happening, or they're online. I'm not making the connections. So I just sort of did a lot of cleanup and a lot of, we have to go inward. And that's where literally the title of This Is Me came about, because for many of these young women, they had no idea how to describe themselves. They had no idea how to sell themselves. And in reality, they were selling themselves short. So we would be having these intimate moments, these intimate sessions online or Zoom or, FaceTime. And I knew who they were, and I knew their powers, and I knew their ability to succeed. But when they would get on the Zoom, it was so intimidating. So really I started incorporating my workshop and seeing such great success, and really this reflection onto themselves, really, carrying out the activities, giving them homework, having assignments, checking back in with them midweek. And I think that's where walking away from my traditional social work practice, where it was, a 45 to 50-minute session once a week, not a lot of communication in between until the next appointment. Coaching allows you to be more hands-on, so the sessions we're doing are only a half-hour sort of boot camp focused sessions. Is I go in with pretty much scripted with what our target goals are. And then I check in with them throughout the week. So even though it's a shorter session, by the time you add up all of the text messages, quick phone calls or emails or articles from Flipgrid that I'm finding and shooting over to them real quick, it's worth it, and that's where I'm seeing the most success. But what happened was many of their parents would call me to say, okay, this is what I owe you for the month. I'm hearing great things. And I would get the moms on the phone. So I would say to the moms, well, what are you doing? Like, how's it going? How are you holding up? And before you knew it, it was like, now mom was signing on. I mean, as long as their daughters were comfortable with it. But for the most part, again, empowerment coaching is meeting them where they're at right now and lifting them up greater, and really just helping them to find their crown, put it back on their head, shine it up a little bit, or help their daughter's crown stay on, and really focusing on that power piece, which is very trending right now, very on point, lots of hashtags, but no one actually tells you how to feel empowered or what to do to work towards empowerment. And that's the difference with this workshop.
Right, which I love, which I think is so important, because you're right. There, empowerment coaching, is the buzzword right now, right? And as you were saying, there's so many things out there, but like, yes, empowerment, but like, how do you actually get empowered? Like, someone could say to you, like, okay, I love that you do that. Yeah. I need help because I feel empowered, or maybe I don't feel empowered. How do you become empowered? So I love that, that you kind of, through the pandemic, through your backstory, right? You're being bedridden. That sounded like you were like 100, being on bed rest because of being pregnant. And then taking that and doing where you're having these mini sessions, not realizing that you're actually developing something, right? Yeah. Which is so freaking cool. And I, again, was there to see the front line. So I love how it really unfolded. But the thing that's so exciting, so anyone that's listening right now, that you have a story, right? You're sitting there going, wait, I feel like I've gone through this, like weaving in and out of things, and I maybe need a little support because I don't have that end piece. Colette is the perfect person to sit and jump. I used to do it with her as we were walking, during the pandemic. We would not be close, but we would kind of be like, okay, what have you done here? Let's go take a walk, or let's FaceTime or Zoom or whatever. And kind of just taking all that stuff that you've learned, or all of this, or your stories, all of the things that you've navigated, and then being able to put it together. And that's exactly what you did, which is really exciting. And the women that you're working with, I know, I was able to jump into the workshop with you guys, and just to see it in action was really, really cool. So, we're going to go back to the workshop a little bit, but I would love for you to also talk about what you've done in your community with, at first was now it's the moment, but if you like talk a little bit about, during the times that you were kind of developing this, and also, and not only just developing it, but not realizing you were developing it, right? You were kind of developing yourself with these things out here. And I met you during that time because you had asked me to kind of jump on and do one of these moments with you. And I was like, oh my God, I love this woman. Like this is before a pandemic, and we took our walk, and we really just kind of like threw it out there. And I was like, I have all these ideas and all these different things. And you're like, okay, let's do this more often. So I would love for you kind of just to talk about how you establish the moment, what that's all about. And then it's going to kind of tie everything together, which I love.
Yeah, no. So again, once we had our second daughter, I had two young girls, and I was living out on the east end of Long Island. I was not born nor raised here. I only moved out here when I met my husband. So moving into a seasonal community, as the beach communities are in many places on the East Coast, I struggled because I didn't want full-time help. I was only going to be at my office part-time because my goal was to be mom first. So as, the years went on and the girls started getting involved in more of these, less mommy and me classes, but more, mini toddler classes, I dropped our daughter off at the local theater, which is the West Hampton Beach Performing Arts Center. And I thought, okay, that's great. She's having so much fun and she's so excited. And now what do I go do for the next 2 hours? There was nothing that I could be dropped off into. There was no learning moment for me, so I initially started something that we called the mom moment. And it was really a networking opportunity. And it was me kind of using my resources. I'm a born again shopper. I don't know what you want to call me, but I do find retail therapy to be very effective. So I was bringing in my friends who own local stores or boutiques or chefs, photographers. I brought, you onto stage as a fitness coach at the time and talked about how, Beachbody and different things like that. And these moments really led to this community outpour, which was other women primarily were saying, we've never had anything like this. I didn't know this person was out here or existed out here. I thought their business was only in the city. And so suddenly these 1 hour, once a month classes were growing, and I had people reaching out to me, I'd love to come in, talk about a leap of faith I just took in my career or something that I'm doing at work. And it was wonderful. So the mom moments just sort of organically turned into the moment. And during the summer at the theater, we tag team them with the theater groups that they do for children to young teens. And I time them so that at drop off, if the parents would like to, they can come and sit to the guest speaker of the day. And this summer it was awesome. We had the women of Hampton Aristocrat and Michelle from Hampton and Dunes, which is a great interior design firm and boutique in town. And then it ended with Joanna Mazzella, who owns Mint, which has about 6 locations, I think, at this point, between the city, Stony Brook, the Hamptons. And it was wonderful. And it was just a great opportunity, again, to learn something, to buy some stuff, and to network with other women out here, some who are back in business, others who just wanted to take a moment for themselves. So it's my side job.
Well, which I love, because when I first went to one of them after I was, after you had me as one of the speakers, I met actually the woman that took pictures for me, right? It was like that was the thing, that you have it as a networking event, but it's also supporting a local business or a business, right? So that's the thing, which was so cool. It's like, oh, I didn't even know, right? Again, that this shop was here. Or you had the woman, Kimmy, and I can't think of her name when I was there, and I still buy her lip balm, and she's not local, but she has like an online store, which was so cool to be like, oh, you know what? I love these kind of products. And so that's what you do so well, is you're such a good networker. You're such a good at putting people together and being like, oh, you know what? I know you guys. And I know that's like a passion of mine as well. And that's one of the reasons why we hit it off so well, because we're always wanting to help the next person grow. And we want to elevate people, right? We want to elevate people. We want to yell people out from the rooftops being like, look at what they're doing. Look who they can help. Do you have anyone that needs help? And that's something I think is missed, especially when you're in a small town. It's not always seen as the positives, things that people do, because everyone's kind of doing their own thing. And that's one thing that I loved that you brought to the pack, because you were able to kind of go front and center and say, hey, I'm here. I want to help this community. I want to help the moms in this community kind of be better. And again, I loved that you timed it during drop off, because it's such a perfect thing where it's like, oh, I can go do something. Yeah. And it happened out of experience, right? It happened out of something, again, that you were experiencing. And I think doing that moment, doing the moments and the amount of work that you put into it also just helped you see, you know what? I love being on stage. I love helping. I love helping and connecting people. And I'm going to bring this even more, because I want to do this for another level of people, and not just, in the community. I want to take this outside the community, because I know that I have something that I really can help, and you really truly do. So I love that that's happening. So can you tell people where they can find you as well?
Yeah. So my website sort of allows you to connect with me on different platforms, and it's just my name. It's ColetteLettieri.com, and I see it scrolling.
Yes.
Below us.
It is scrolling
now. And you can reach out to me that way via email or social media, and we can set up an initial, sometimes it's just a 10-minute chat, as I like to say, to see if our personalities connect, because I think that's what's important too. And like I've said on our walks is, you have to find the right fit, and that's what helps you to either find your voice or turn the volume up on your voice, and that's where we're at right now. It's really, again, going back to that word, it's about supporting each other. It's about empowering each other out of this time period.
Right. And we all need it. So I would love for you to tell us, and if you can, 2 of your favorite kind of success stories that came out of one of your clients, or you can even, 2 or 3 or 1,
Oh,
whatever.
wow. Okay. Well, I have a lot, I have to be honest. I guess one of my clients who you've now used for your own personal photographs, I'm not even sure you could get access to her right now. She's so busy, which is so fabulous. And it really started, we were at pickup line together at our children's school back then. And we just sort of sat, and she said, yeah, like photography is something I do when I need to get my mind off things. So I asked her to send me a couple of her pictures. I always loved photography. I'm not a talented photographer. And we ended up, just an exchange of texts, ended up similar, going for walks. And then these walks became scheduled. And then these walks became, sessions in my office, etc. And it really turned into something amazing. And it was a matter of her walking away from her career actually and going towards her talent, which was wild. And now again, she did not hit the ground slowly. She definitely hit the ground running, and she did a lot of work to get there and making the right connections. And I think the biggest thing was she asked for help. She asked for people to make connections for her, and I think that's the most important thing, is that not being afraid to say, will you help me? Will you promote this? Will you share this? And it doesn't necessarily just need to be on a social platform. It could just be on a phone call. And I think we have to get back to that too, is picking up the phone and saying, hey, this is what I'm doing. Will you help me out here? Who do you know? What can you help me do? And let me do the same favor in return. So there's those stories. And, for me, it's the college senior who I also love, because none of them ever get the course of, this is what you wear on your first day of work,
Right.
And us kind of even just doing a closet edit virtually where I'll say, you cannot wear that to your first day of work, or can you take a look at your nails? And I don't care if, male or female, but like if you have dirt on your nails, not a good first impression, like if you don't have time to do your hair, throw it back in a ponytail, right? Yeah. I mean, and so it's as silly as it sounds, is like even just constructing an email, to their professors, getting out of the place of I, but rather from a professional standpoint of, what do I need to complete this course or to finish this course, etc. So those are sort of my favorite right now. But then, like I said, the last week was just sort of mind blowing, because I have like 2 literary agents on the top of their game who have no idea what they want to do next. And I'm thinking, wow, you're what? And it's just, again, they lack that connection to self. And when I said, this is me, ... they weren't able to fill in the line, because they've really taken on all of their clients or their family or their children or even their pets as priority. And it's really making yourself priority 1 and not feeling selfish about it.
Right, which is so important. And I think what you said, which is so fun as you grow as a person, but finding that purpose, that passion, right? I like to say both, because it's a purpose, a passion. Sometimes people don't know that they have that, right? And we've talked about this many times. And that's, what my whole podcast and my whole public speaking and all of that I'm doing is, I've always loved that, right? I've always loved networking. I've always loved small talking and talking to people. But I realized, okay, I'm actually really good at this. And not only am I really good at this, I'm obsessed with it. I love it. I love getting people on stage like yourself to share their story, because there's people that are going to be listening to this that are right now like, okay, so she really weaved all these different things, but then she found a career for herself, but it is kind of fulfilling her purpose and passion, right? Yeah. And, whether you believe in God, whether you believe in the universe, but once you're following that purpose, your passion, doors just kind of keep opening, which is so exciting, and which was, I love, and which just lights me on fire. And I know, because we've talked about this, but when you really truly find that purpose in your life and that passion, you're a happier person. And you could have a career over here, but you have a hobby, and you don't realize that hobby is actually what you're meant to do. Right. And so that's one thing that I think is really important, that you're also helping those people. And the fact that you have, these women that have come to you that are successful women, but they're like, I'm not 100% happy. right? I feel a little bit stuck, or I feel a little unsettled. And that's what I always say. When you feel a little unstuck or a little unsettled, it's because you're not doing what you're meant to be doing.
Yeah.
And we all have those periods, right? Even when you're meant to be doing something, you're going to have the periods, a little bit of the up and down, especially as an entrepreneur. I mean, we have the big ups, the big downs, the wins. And then you're like, oh my God, my legs just got cut out of me. And then the next day it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. That's amazing. And to be able to have someone support you, whether it's a friend or a coach that can really just be like, this is what you need to do. This is kind of, let's like brainstorm and talk. It's so important. So I love that you have found that. And one of the things that I think that college age woman, everything you just said there, because not everyone, the people are not teaching them these things.
No, not at all. And again, it's like for many of them, if I'm speaking of my clients that are these emerging adults, and they laugh because they say, well, we are an adult now. And I was like, okay, not quite. Or whether it's, my clients who are in their 40s, and I have a new client now, she's 65, and she's like, I'm not ready to retire. I haven't done it all yet. And so I say to them, okay, so let's redirect, let's reframe, and let's repurpose what we know works, right? You don't want to just get rid of what you know works, because we can't be foolish either, but let's build on it. And for me, exactly that, when I look at how my story started in a classroom with special needs students and then evolved into a master's in social work and then on to health coaching, I truly believe it's a mind, body, emotion, and action connection. And I said that, when I speak also, is if you cannot connect those four, the disconnect will break it apart completely. And sometimes you have to learn to take a step back, sit, quiet, listen, and learn. And then other times you need to bust through the door and say, here I am, I'm ready to go, and it's a balance for sure.
It is. And sometimes when we bust through the door, sometimes it's like, wow, I busted through and it was an empty room, but I busted through, right? I went and I busted through that empty room. Okay. I need to take a couple steps back and I need to do the work. And then, now I can bust through that thing. But it's all a work in progress. And I'm laughing because I think I was I love to bust through and then be like, oh, wait, no, I didn't do those X, Y, and Z behind me. But that's what's so beautiful about life. I mean, that's what's so beautiful about living a life out loud and doing what you're meant to be doing, and not worrying about what your neighbor's doing, what your friends are doing, what your, sister, aunt are doing, and what they're saying, because you have to live life out loud and to who you are meant to be. And that's what I love. That I'm so excited what you're doing, because it is, it's so needed out there. It really is needed. And you bring people to a level and a comfort that is just amazing. And that's one of the reasons why I adore you. But you really, really do. You really light the fire under people and bring them to reality. But then you also, blow them up when they need to be blown up. And it's a wonderful thing. And you have definitely found your purpose and your passion in life. So I'm just excited to watch you grow even more.
Thank you. And thank you for having me on. I love an opportunity, obviously, to work with you, but also just to talk about it. So thank you. Thank you.
Yes, of course. So guys, if you like what you hear, you have to keep coming back. You got to follow Colette, follow myself. She is now new to Fireside, so definitely give her a follow on Fireside and check out her website. And you might be listening being like, oh, that sounds really cool. I don't need that. But then all of a sudden, if you sit and pause your body, which I love to say, you might be like, you know what? My niece needs that right now. I didn't even think that there was anything out there. Or, you know what? My aunt has been struggling and she's really kind of flailing. She needs that. So referrals are the best way. Word of mouth is the best way to get things out. So definitely check out what Colette is doing, and also send out this replay, because again, you never know who needs it. So Colette, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm glad we're both wearing our stars today. I feel like the universe for us.
Well, I put a sweater on because it's cold.
It's not cold.
I'm freezing. Well, but this morning when I took the kids to school.
This is what you and I do so well. It's not.
It's 61 degrees. I was like, oh, I'm freezing. My kids were like, it's a little cold, but Mom, it's not like in the 20s. Yeah, and I'm like, yeah. Well, it was like, it hit me in the face. I got it. Well, the sun is shining. It's a new day. I will talk to you later. Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Colette. I'm going to bring Waitbot up to kind of call us out. And we'll see you guys next week. I have some really cool guests, some NFL wives coming on talking about just really amazing things that they're doing behind the scenes, because the football season kicks off next week. So don't forget to check the RSVPs. You'll see me kind of schedule those things and RSVP for the next event. So again, Colette, thank you so much. And we'll see you guys next week. I hope you liked this episode of Your Next Stop. Please subscribe to my channel, share with your friends, and join in each week.